yesterday I was giving you 3 molecules to draw. So let's do it first. Just like one molecule I have given, that is XeO2F2. Okay, XeO2F2. So the number of valence electrons xenon contain is, how many valence electrons xenon have? It have eight valence electron. Okay, now here is oxygen. So oxygen will form double bond. 2 oxygen means 2 double bond. That means Xe. That means 2 bond pair. 2 bond pair means 4 electron. Xe minus F. 2. So 2 bond pair means what? 2 electron. And 1 lone pair means 2 electron. Okay. So this one. So what will be the structure? So 4 bond pair. See, 4 bond pair, one lone pair. So 4 bond pair and 1 lone pair. That means central atoms are surrounded by 5. The steric hindrance is 5. Steric factor is 5. So the structure will be tri-TBP. Okay. So now what will be the shape of the molecule? It will be xenon F. It has a structure like seesaw. Okay, it has a structure. It has a seesaw structure. Yes, understood? Okay. Now, next example, next homework, what I have given, that is formation of SO2. Sulfur contain how many valence electron?
Ma'am, 6.
6. Okay. So here oxygen. So 2 oxygen and a sulfur bond. That means 4 electron. Okay. And 1 lone pair. That means 2 electron. So that means 2 bond pair, 1 lone pair. 2 bond pair and 1 lone pair. 2 bond pair, 1 lone pair. What will be the geometry then? Trigonal planar. It will have trigonal planar geometry. Now what will be the shape? Shape will be so it have bent or V shape. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next homework that I have given you, that is XeO3. So xenon have 8 valence electron. Xenon has 8 valent electron. So it has 3 Xe double bond O bond. which is 6 electron. 2 electron will form 1 lone pair. Okay, so 3 bond pair plus 1 lone pair. What will be the geometry? 3 bond pair, 1 lone pair.
Ma'am, tetrahedral.
Tetrahedral, yes. Tetrahedral. Now what will be the shape? So xenon, so it is a structure pyramidal, right? The structure is pyramidal. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, others, please respond, understood or not. Then we'll go to the next topic, today's topic.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now I'm going to the next topic. Our today's topic will be VBT, that is valence bond theory. Okay, VBT, valence bond theory. Okay, now valence bond theory. Why the valence bond theory is required? First thing we have to learn that we know that first we have learned that Lewis structure. Okay, Lewis structure first we have learned. After the Lewis structure doesn't give us the idea about the shape of the molecule, the geometry of the molecule, right? Then we have learned VSEPR theory. VSEPR theory gives us the idea of geometry at its shape of molecule, but it is not applicable for all the molecules. It is not applicable for all the molecules. A molecule is look like a tetrahedral. Why it is tetrahedral? What is the reason that it is being tetrahedral? That thing we cannot understand with the help of the VSEPR theory. Okay, another thing is that see H2 and F2. H2 and F2 both are forming single bond, but the bond enthalpy of hydrogen is 435.8 kilojoule per mole, whereas for fluorine is 156 kilojoule per mole. So what is the reason? That cannot be explained by VSEPR theory as well as Lewis theory. Okay. So these are the limitation of VSEPR theory actually. To overcome this VSEPR theory, two important theory which are based on quantum mechanical principle, two theory has been given. One is valence bond theory, that is VBT. Another is MOT, that is molecular orbital theory. Molecular orbital theory. So this VBT and MOT we will learn. First VBT has been given, then VBT cannot explain all the things in detail, then MOT. MOT is far better than VBT, but we have to learn the VBT also. So let's start the valence bond theory. Okay. See, what is valence bond theory? Actually, valence bond theory was put forward by the scientists Helter and London in the year of 1927. And then it was improved by scientist Pauling in the year of 1931. Now, valence bond theory actually mainly depend on the atomic orbitals and electronic configuration of the elements. It's totally depend on the electronic configuration and as well as atomic orbitals. It depends on electronic configuration as well as atomic orbitals. So let's see the basic assumption. Just a second. Let's see the basic assumption of that. Yeah, boys and girls, screen is clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so first assumption is that atoms do not lose their identity even after the formation of the molecule. Yes, hydrogen, when hydrogen atom from hydrogen molecule, it has become hydrogen only, it doesn't become carbon. So atom does not lose their identity. Okay. Now, second is the bond is formed due to the interaction of only the valence electrons as the two atoms come close to each other, and the inner electrons do not participate in the bond formation. So always valence electrons take part in a chemical bonding. The other electron, the inner electron, do not take part in the chemical bonding. Okay. During the formation of bond, only the valence electrons from each bonded atom lose their identity. Okay, so only the valence electrons, the electrons which take part in the bond formation, they only lose their identity. Other electrons remain unaffected. Okay, and the fourth is the stability of bond is accounted by the fact that the formation of bond is accompanied by release of energy. The amount of energy is released, it's the strength of the bond is depend on that. The molecule has minimum energy at a certain distance between the atoms known as internuclear distance. Obviously, larger the decrease in energy, stronger will be the bond formation. Okay, so these are the things. So these are the main valence bond theory. These are the postulates of valence bond theory. So now we will learn the valence bond with the help of valence bond theory, how H2 molecule will form. So I'm stop share the screen over here again, and now screen is clear to you? Yes. Now valence bond treatment for H2O molecule. So formation of hydrogen molecule. Formation of hydrogen molecule. See. So here this is HA, one hydrogen molecule. Here HB, one hydrogen molecule. We know that hydrogen contain one electron. Yes or no? Hydrogen contain one electron. So this nucleus is binded with one electron, EA, and this nucleus is binded with electron. Just a second. EB. Now, what are the bond will form? Now, this nucleus, HA nucleus will form a bond with this EB, this electron, and this nucleus will form a bond with EA, HB atom will form a bond with EA electron, and HA electron will form a bond with EB. These are the new bond. That green color one are new bond. Okay, and the red color are old. This thing is clear. Now what are the repulsive forces act that we also have to see. See, this is the This is HA. This is HB. Obviously, these two repels each other. And here is EA. Here is EB. These two also repels each other. Understood? These two also repels each other. So what is the attractive force actually? Attractive forces are what? Attractive forces are, we can say, HA, EA and HB, EB. Right? HAE and HBEB and HAEB and HBEA. See this one. Understood or not? This one. This one you understood or not? Tell me. Yes, yes, boys and girls, respond please. And what is the repulsive force? EAEB repulsive force and HA and HB repulsive. That means two nucleus repels each other and two electrons repels each other. Yes, boys and girls, please respond. You are understanding or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so these are the attractive force and repulsive force. So how many attractive forces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many repulsive forces are there? 2, right? So attractive forces are more. So that's why hydrogen molecule will form. Okay. Now, as two atoms approach each other, let's see with the help of a diagram, of a graph. Okay, so this is the for potential energy. This is for potential energy. This is for internucleus distance. This is for internucleus distance. Okay. Now, when there is two atoms in this position, then, okay, then it reaches to minimum. Okay, see, when these two atoms come closer, their energy decreases and it reaches to minimum when they overlap each other. So the distance between this one is known as bond distance. Okay, at this, the two hydrogen atoms are said to be bonded together. And here, two hydrogen atoms are bonded together and form a stable molecule. Okay, and the distance R0, the distance between the potential energy and internucleus distance is known as the bond length. Okay, and you can see the potential energy when the two atoms come closer together, it is become decreasing, decreasing, decreasing. It reaches to a minimum, then it start again increasing. Okay, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, one interesting fact is that why H2 molecule not form, but H2 molecule form. Why He2 helium molecule will not form, but H2 form. Now we need to find out. See with an example. The helium have +2 charge and it have 2 electron. Okay, it has 2 electron. See, so one more. Okay. Now, this nucleus will attract this one, and this nucleus will attract this one and attract this one. So how many attractive forces are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 attractive forces are there. cis attractive force. But if we see the repulsive force, see, if you see the repulsive force, okay, these two repel each other. Okay, then electron are there. Okay, these two electron repel each other. These two electron also repel each other. This electron repel each other. This electron repel each other. Now these two electrons, see, this electron, okay, repel each other. So how many repulsive forces are there? 8. 8 repulsive force. So as it have 8 repulsive force, so that's why repulsive force is more than that attractive force. That's why H2 molecule will not form. Understood? Yes, understood.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now orbital overlap concept of covalent bond. Sorry. Okay, so orbital overlap concept actually. So when two atoms approach each other, okay, when suppose these two atoms are approaching each other, okay, then their bonding orbitals, those who are bonded with each other, are known as overlapping orbitals. Then the bonding orbitals are known as overlapping orbital. Okay, bonding orbitals are known as overlapping orbital. And this overlapping of orbitals actually results in the pairing of electrons. That means electron pair will occur over here. And the strength of the covalent bond actually depends upon the extent of overlapping. If the overlapping is more, then the bond is more strong. If the overlapping is less, the bond is not that much strong. So if I consider two hydrogen atoms, so if I consider two hydrogen atoms, see one hydrogen atom here, one hydrogen atom here. So hydrogen atom has one electron. Suppose this electron is this spin and this electron is this spin. So when these two approach each other and forming the bond, they have one s orbital. These two come closer. This one s orbital overlap with each other, and here the electron are paired up. The two opposite spin electron being paired up, and they form hydrogen-hydrogen bond. So that means overlapping of orbital take place. If overlapping of orbital is more, suppose orbital overlap like this, and suppose here one orbital overlap like this. So here the overlapping is more. That means bond formed by this orbital is more strong than that overlapping. So if the overlapping is more, that is the strength of the bond is also become more. Yes, clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next is types of overlapping and nature of covalent bonds. Okay, types of overlapping and nature of covalent bonds. Okay. So depending on the type of overlapping, covalent bonds are mainly two types. One is sigma bond. One is sigma bond. This sigma bond. And another bond is known as pi bond. One is sigma bond, another bond is pi bond. Now let's see what is sigma bond. What is sigma bond? Actually, this is a type of covalent bond, you know, obviously. And this type of covalent bond is formed by the end-to-end hand-on overlapping. End-to-end hand-on overlapping. Okay, along the internuclear axis, very important, along the internuclear axis. Along the internucleus axis. So we can say that it is also known as head-on overlapping or axial overlap. It is also known as head-on overlap or axial overlap. Let's see the example, like S orbital overlapping. So this is two s orbital. When they overlap, see, sp orbital can overlap like this, s dash p orbital. And 2p orbital can overlap like this. Okay, this is SS overlap, this is SP overlap, and this is PP overlap. So these are known as sigma bond. Okay, when head-on overlapping take place along the internuclear axis, okay, that is known as sigma bond. Clear? Sigma bond. What is sigma bond?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, very important. The sigma bond pi bond is very, very important. I'm telling you. Now, pi bond. And this type of bond is formed by side-wise overlap. Side. Okay. So when sidewise overlapping is taking place, this type of bond is taking place, must form sidewise overlap of half-filled atomic orbital, obviously, of half-filled atomic orbital. Of half-filled atomic orbital. Okay, and obviously atomic orbital will be bonding. Obviously atomic orbital form bonding orbital, and the thing is that this type of overlap is known as sidewise overlap or lateral overlap. Sidewise or lateral overlap. Let's see how the bond is formed. Suppose this is the 2p orbital, and when they form the bond, this one. So actually pi electron will form a cloud over the bond. Here is also pi electron form a cloud over the bond. Yes, these are the pi orbitals. So when sidewise overlap take place, then pi orbital form. Now the next question is that which bond is strongest, sigma or pi? Okay, now the strength of the covalent bond is depend on what? Previously only I have told you the strength of the covalent bond is depend on the extent of overlapping. If the overlapping is more, the covalent is more strong. Okay, so here during the formation of sigma bond, actually overlapping of orbitals take place in large extent. See, overlapping of orbital takes place in large extents, where here the overlapping of orbital in case of pi bond, the overlapping of orbital does not take place in that extent. Okay, it takes place in smaller extent. Overlapping of orbital take place is smaller extent. Okay, so that's why sigma bond is stronger than pi bond always. Sigma bond stronger than pi bond. Always. Sigma bond always stronger than pi bond. Okay, so what are the sigma bond actually? It is not possible in a molecule that pi bond is forming but sigma bond is not forming. No. What are the pi bonds? Suppose carbon double bond carbon. So one bond is sigma bond, the other bond is pi. Suppose carbon triple bond carbon. So two bond is pi bond and the one bond is sigma bond. Okay. Okay. So pi bond between two atoms is formed in addition to a sigma bond. That means only pi bond is forming, sigma bond is not forming, not possible. Clear? Clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
So tomorrow I will ask you what is the sigma bond and pi bond, and I will ask you the differences. It is your homework that you will write down the differences between sigma bond and pi bond. Okay? Clear?
Okay, ma'am.
So I'm ending the class now. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.